Mama is here. Uh,
Hello.
I can't hear you.
Ah,
You can just speak up a bit. I can hear your ah.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, so just project a little more or maybe move closer to the camera.
Okay. Okay. 1 second. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we'll work with that. We'll work with that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll work with that.
Good
Welcome,
morning.
Mama.
Thank
Welcome. Guys, she's welcome my momo in the comment section. Welcome, ma. Welcome, mom. I like your gilly. Your gilly is gilly. Okay, so let
thank
me let
you.
me.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll play your song for 10 seconds because we've done 5 minutes already, and then
All right.
we'll go right into it. Okay. Okay.
I believe you also have your own testimony. Through many through, and you can't tell how you did it. You made it through, and you can't tell how you did it. But one thing I know, Jehovah took it over, and that is how you made it through.
Amazing, amazing. The song is titled I Made It. And like I said earlier, it's a special request from our guests that we should play the song. You should check it out on Facebook. From the beginning, you can see that it's a very powerful song. So try and check it out. But right now, we'll go straight into it. Yes, so we're here. We'll go straight into it. Today, we have my mom, Mrs. Felicia Onoviran. She's our guest today. She's a nurse of 50 years plus now. We have entered plus. Over 50 years. She's a nurse of over 50 years. Global nurse, Nigeria, UK. She's been a nurse tutor, a research nurse. She's done all the aspects of nursing that you can think of. She's an experienced nurse. She's also an amazing mother of both biological and spiritual children. She has plenty of children that I even know, that I can count, despite being one of her biological ones. Like I shared yesterday, she's an amazing human being, very spiritual. Watch out for that. She's a deeply spiritual woman, wise, loving, kind, beautiful. And I promise you, stay to the end of this because it's going to be a blessing to you and your relationships. So I'm going to jump right into it by asking her to tell us briefly about herself. So just tell us about yourself, Mama.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Felicia Onoviran, and my maiden name is Ayodele. I was born some 70 years ago to Chief Mrs. Ayodele in Lagos. I attended the Sisi Obasa Nursery School and Lady Luck Institute in Yaba, Lagos, and I went through to secondary school in Ekiti-Parapo. And finally, I went to Wesley Gate Hospital, Elisha, where I did my nursing training, both in nursing and midwifery. I proceed to have a program with LASU to do my BSc. And eventually, also before then, I became a nurse educator. I also traveled to England here, where I did some various kinds of nursing and proceeded to do my master's in Leeds Beckett University. And that's me. I work from a nursery school. I was a teacher, and there I moved on to work in inland revenue, after which I went for nursing. And that is what I have been doing since I left inland revenue. And I'm married to late Pastor Emmanuel Olumuyiwa Orimisan Onoviran. And that's about 41 years ago. And I became widowed about 39 years ago as well. And here am I, Mrs. Onoviran. Thank you.
That's why you don't mention us. So you don't say you have three beautiful children, three
Oh,
amazing
wow.
children.
Sorry, I have so many children, but biologically, I have three amazing kids. Unfortunately, I didn't know why I didn't mention it because I wrote it somewhere here that they are so amazing. So amazing. Because you said briefly, so I was rushing through
Yeah,
everything.
I know.
Yeah, they're so amazing. We promised each other something before I came to England, and I want to openly say thank you to them. Maybe they have forgotten when I had finished up my issues about coming to England. I met with them in my Bolonduro little house flat in the sitting room, and I told them, if you fail, you will do British pay to, you know what, you carry sand to pay for your balance of your school fees. If you get pregnant, you marry immediately, whatever your age. If you pregnant somebody, you become a father. So get that one straight. I am going to go and do my own work there to ensure you go to school, to ensure I pay your fees, to ensure you have a good life. And I want to openly and proudly say, thank you, children, for being there and making sure you do your own bits of the part. And I also did mine. And that's why one of the reasons, so many other reasons, but one of the reasons why we can be happy together, everybody doing their part because God was there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mama. That parenting one is another, maybe it's another topic for another day. Maybe a parenting coach will invite you because that one is another
Mm.
one that you hacked. You know, I remember my friends used to tell me in school when I was in uni that I don't know how you're doing it. Your father is not here, your mother is not here. Why are you so well behaved? Why are you like what is it that is, you know, funny enough, I can't even remember this conversation of if you get pregnant because it was not even in any way in our mind space not to just go through the process and do the right things because you've already instilled it from an early age. So that seed had been planted and it was just, well, in your presence or in your absence, it was just doing its own thing. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for being such an amazing mom. I know that I will still make you talk about this thing because we need to be having a lot more conversations with you people now. You have to be getting out the experience. You can't just keep everything, you know, can't just hold everything. We need to squeeze it out. We need to squeeze it out. So but for today, let's focus on our focus. So the
Yeah.
first question would be, so I want to say thank you so much for coming. I don't take it for granted because I didn't think you would agree, but I'm so grateful that you came. My mom is also an author and she's a coach. She's a life coach. So you can imagine, you know, the wisdom that is loaded in what you're about to hear today. So my first question would be, how did becoming a widow, like in the community, the Moms for Wellness community, this month we're focusing on social wellness, and so that's why I brought you here to tell us how the dynamics of your social life was, you know, from that period of becoming a widow up until now, because I know that you might not have a very large circle, but you have solid people, you know, from time to time around you. But the first question is, let's even know, how did becoming a widow, especially with three young children at that time, change or impact your perspective to relationships, your relationships generally, or even your relationship at that time? What changed when you became a widow? What eye openers happened? Like what what were relationships like for you from that point of becoming a widow with three children? We know the story of Nigeria, how, you know, families will say, don't worry, we'll be there for you, and people will just disappear and all of that. But what was it like for you? Just, you know, give us a little insight into that. Take us through that journey. What was it like and how did you navigate it? And I want to say, if you can just project your voice a little bit more, maybe increase the volume on your laptop. But I can hear you, but I feel like it's not really loud enough.
Mm, okay, 1 second to get my volume high.
Oh, she disappeared. I'll bring her back. Don't worry. Just stay there. She'll be back. Thank you, Taiwo Ajewole, for joining. Oladile Taiwo Ajewole, thank you, sis, for joining us. Okay, I'll bring her back. just before she comes back, I shared on Facebook when I was trying to promote this webinar about the day my dad died. It was on a Sunday, and we had gone for what we call house fellowship in those days, Sunday evening. And as we're coming back from house fellowship, there were so many people in our house. The house was so busy. I was like, wondering what's going on. And my dad had been sick for a while, so I just had that thing just told me that my dad has died. Like, that's why there's so many people in the house. But my brother was like, no, dad is now healed, is now healthy. So people just came to greet us. Okay, well, then we went upstairs and I'm like, where is he now? He's now healthy. Where is he? He said, just relax. And so we went into the house and we saw my mom crying profusely. I just knew it's like, my dad has definitely died. My brother still maintained his position. He said it's tears of joy that my dad is now healed. It was later in the evening that they now broke the news to us officially in the night. Our dad had died, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Are you here? Are you back?
Yeah, I've been hearing you. I don't know how you didn't hear me.
Okay, I heard your heart at some point. But
okay, I'm here. I'm here very much.
So I was sharing while you were away, but I'm glad you were hearing me. So
yes,
from that day where there were so many people in our house, it now just dissipated, if that's a word, to one or two people. One or two people, honestly, from the multitude of people that we saw on that day that it happened, to just one or two people. Like, I mean, one or two constant people that I could see, being there all the way from that crowd, So that was first, and my own viewpoint with that. But how was it for you? So let's hear you, ma.
Yeah, thank you very much. Absolutely. Number one, there's a personality change. The personality change I had then was, I was a Mrs Onoviran, still Mrs Onoviran, but without my companion beside me, without my lover there, without my confidence, my trustee, my soulmate. So that was a change personality for me. We always walked together to church until when he became ill. Actually, I have become a single person from the day he could not move out or walk. But on the day he died, because I came home to rest, and then Iyaogo came to call me and say, I think there's something wrong. So I rushed back to the hospital, and he waited till I was there before he had his last breath. I remember I moved away from everybody because my office is not too far away from where my husband died. So I was rushing to my office. I really wanted to cry, but you could see the number of people following me. I paced up, got into my office, locked the door, cried as much as I wanted. What do you want? You want to go by ambulance? Yes. They took me home. Lots and lots of people, like Ruth has just said. But the problem in my brain was, how am I going to tell my children who had just gone to house fellowship? I was surprised when I heard her talking about house fellowship, because every people there, I didn't see them. They were not there. I wanted to plan, how will I tell my children that their father is gone? So when they came in, I didn't know what happened or how I said it, but I knew maybe they know or maybe they don't know, the kind of, not truth, not deception, that we give people when their family died, or friend died, or husband or children. Oh no, don't cry. Yes, God is there. But I was a changed person that day. I know I can't get home and tell stories. There's nobody there to tell, when I got to school, this was what Mr. X or Mrs. Y did. Nobody to tell, because he was gone. My husband was a blunt person. My husband was a straight person. He doesn't do back and forth. He's a person who doesn't allow any little thing to slide. If he sees, he talk. And he talk, he doesn't talk little. He talk much about the matter that you might even say, what's the matter? Why are you? Sometimes I will pinch him, say, leave me. Did you know what God is telling me? So now he's gone. Who's going to tell me the truth? Really from his mouth, from his heart. A lot of people tell you truth from your mouth, from their mouth. They are not there. What changed? A lot of things change. How do I handle my children? All that we said to one another during courtship, how are we going to fulfill them? It's no longer here. That changed me. What changed? Before his death, I have noticed behavior of people. When we went for the operation at UCH, it was about 11, 12 hours operation. And throughout the time, I was only able to see one person. Just one person visited us because everybody was busy. The operation was done on a Sunday. Because those who wanted to do the operation, knowing him, wants to do it on the day of the Lord, where all of them will be ministers or Christians. Where all of them, from the nurse to the surgeon, were going to be people who are Christians, who knows the Lord. And so they decided it was going to be immediately after their service. At that time, those people, maybe, I don't know which churches they attend, but they were Christians. They came and they continued till late in the evening. But that day was fellowship day, was house fellowship day, was everybody was busy. Thank God for us, always busy. But that day, I made a decision that I am by myself. And I will remember his song, which he always sing. He was there all the time, waiting patiently in love. It's only God that is there. So I heard that. That was a navigation for me. That in the care and everything I'm going to do with these children, it was going to be me and the children. What changed for me? Financially, things changed. Where will I go? Who do I go to? I was grieving, and I could see people who are grieving. For me, my grief was from my heart. And I would see people talking, and then suddenly, as soon as they see me, and they will be crying. Those crying was like, what are you these people wasting time for? So I saw that. I decided in the first week that by the second week after my husband is buried, I go to work. I'm not going to sit down and let people come and kind of mock me. I'm going to start from there to stand for my children and to fulfill. And those were the things. There were periods of desperation in my life. I want to talk to somebody. I couldn't get who to really talk to. But those that the trees that I rested upon, they were all full of thorns. In my hours of vulnerability, which is one of the most things that happens to widows, they are very, very vulnerable. In that hours of vulnerability, I was not only mocked, I was deceived, I was abused. I don't know what other names to give it. And in that period, I know, I'm sure my children also know, I went down. I went down, totally down. But thank God, because a man said something, and I will still I keep holding to that. When my son, Paul, was always playing paper upstairs, I don't know whether Ruth will remember the man. He's a doctor, a chief, living downstairs. And the woman told me that the husband said he wants to kill me because my children are always disturbing him. Can I go and apologize? I went to this man, and the man said, you are a Christian and I am a fetish person. I really want to kill you. I'm talking reality, face to face, somebody. And he said, but the thing is, in our world and in your world, there's a red line that demarcates us. We have no right to kill anybody who is on the other side. But should they come here, we will do all we can to kill them. My dear beloved people, listen to me. Make sure you do not move on to the other side of the red line, the blood of Jesus. Make sure you stay where God wants you to stay. And he said, the moment you move out, we're going to catch you. And he said, many times you are at the edge, you run back. Many times you are at the edge, you run back. But thank God, by the time I was in other side, he has moved to somewhere else, and I have moved to another place. God helped me to come out. In that time, even believers were hitting me. I didn't know what, because that is a vulnerability of a widow. When you needed people, in here, thank God, they are not Christians, but there are so many organizations that stands in. And that's one of the things that drove me into being a coach. I really want to see how I could help people going through things in their life, because going through it was not easy. But God was always there. That's why I wanted that song. And God was supportive. So the period of desperation when you want to talk, when I wanted to talk, I didn't have people who tell me the truth. So when I was coming to England, I didn't tell anybody in the beginning. I planned everything, and it was true. It was true before I mentioned it. By the time I mentioned it, there were so many stories. There were so many news. There were so many information. But I knew what I was doing, because I know as long as I stay in that place, I am never going to be out of the hole. So I decided I was coming. And one thing that somebody that I knew, I believe, I trusted, told me was that, do you remember Naomi? When Naomi went, he came empty-handed. I asked him, sir, can I write all these things you are talking down? Because I want to look at it in future and see whether it will be a regret or a happiness. But I'm happy I followed what God told me. After he spoke, God told me, or God ministers to my heart, that Ruth followed Naomi. So Naomi didn't come empty. And the Ruth that followed Naomi ended up in the bath of Jesus Christ. So he didn't come empty. God has a plan. For every life, God has a plan, sir. So I moved on. And so in that hours of desperation, there was a time, the thing that followed was a redefining of my life. What do I want? And that made me to say, yes, I'm going out. I'm traveling so that I can have, because salary was not also going through, schools were not going on through in Nigeria then. And so I needed something concrete in my hand to care for my children. And I faced reality of life. Reality that I am alone. There were promises from families which never came true. Ruth will remember. Somebody came and just said, write all that you needed. And they were writing shoes, bags, clothes, blah, blah. They wrote everything. I believe that those shoes will come tomorrow or day after or maybe next year. Nothing came. I accepted. That was part of my navigation. I accepted everything that comes my way. I accepted that these children, they are my responsibility. When people tell you, why they are already gone out of secondary school, let them look for a job. I told them, no, that was not our plan. what we decided, what we planned in our courtship was this, but it's not here. Yes, it's not here, but God was there all the time. There could be period of self-blaming. There could be serious period of self-blaming, but looking unto God, God make things to be different. Those were things which positively helped me. The vulnerability was great. Psychological depression, emotional pressure, things you hear people say is so deploring to your soul and spirit. But God was always there. So moving into England, I decided I was going to enter the church like a stranger, like like a new person. So I entered the church I wanted to go, the church I've been going, the church I love. If another day we are going to talk about journey of the Christian journey. It was a lovely one from my childhood. All the places I've gone, but the day I entered Lagos University Flat 2 to attend a Bible study, spreading my wrapper on the floor, sitting down and seeing how many 3, 4, 6 people sitting on my wrapper to listen to the Bible study, I know I have gone to the bus stop. And the peace of God came from Wilmot to Montgomery to SU to SIM to different places. I didn't find what I wanted. But when I got to that place, I found what I needed. That hunger got fixed. So I knew I didn't go there for anybody. I didn't go there because anybody said this. There are so many things that I was doing before I got to Deeper Life. And so when I got to England, I was looking for Deeper Life. They told me so many stories, and I got there. One thing that helped me was that I got there, I just sat down like a new convert. When they were doing training, I attended the training like a new convert. But the day I stepped my feet in London for a program, I don't live in London, I live in Leeds. I attended a program in London, and 2, 3, 4 people saw me. They went to report and said, we saw, you don't know her, da, da, da. And that's how everybody knew. And attending that, somebody also still came to come and say, that person, hey, it's a backslider. Hey, and so many stories. But God has been God. Because when you go back to him, he will always take you. Some things that happened because it was a vulnerable period and there was nobody to run to. And the things that is happening now is because God has planned something. And that is why you are hearing today. That God has a plan, God has a way. He didn't die because God is not God. He died because that was his own expiry date. He has done his own bit of the work. And I am not a widow because I did anything wrong. God has a plan. And that's the plan that any widow, God has given us some experience so that we can be able to help other people. And if we are going to talk about this, we will be here forever. So, my dear, these are just things that came and what I did. I just decided that nothing that happens to me that is too big. I will call upon the name of the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. And I adapted a life without my darling there. I live a life, a woman. I read so many books. And I'm going to read something from one of the books I read then that helped me. It's a book written by Christine Hanna, The Great Alone. because loneliness is a big thing for um, a widow. She said, a woman has to be tough as steel up here. You can't count on anyone to save you and your children. You have to be willing to save yourselves. And I thought, I was young, but you have to be tough as steel. I used to tell people that I'm a woman, I'm a man. I'm not talking about whatever those people are saying, but that in me, that toughness of a father and a mother is in here. And those great words help me and many others. That's why sometimes when the children want to come and help me say these books, I don't want to throw away those diaries. They are journals that I have written from books, from Bible reading, from various other sources that has helped my life to move on. And what also helped was that from childhood, they have always told us, I started my journey as a Christian from Apostolic Phrase Stroke SU, Scripture Union. And they used to tell us that what you want is not, you should always be like, what do you want to do for people? Not what people want to do for you. So that's another thing that helped me, that even if I'm here by myself, how can I help other people? So I'm not bothered. In fact, I feel so more happy when I'm by myself, because it gives me opportunity to read, to meditate, to think. Sometimes when too many people are around, they distort your brain. They tell you things that do not help you. And relationship was another problem. Because of what I saw, I decided these people are not there. Like Ruth was saying, where were all these people? They disappeared after 2 weeks. Everything went normal for them. Not even a hello. Sometimes we will be in need. These children know. We go to the farm, we farm, we sow corns. Sometimes when we finish harvesting, we take the cassava and go and work on the cassava and then go and make the gari. There was a day we came back home to midnight with these children. Tired. Sometimes when I'm coming from work, I'm going straight to the farm to look for vegetable. And we will come and we will make food. These children, they are wonderful children. Many days there's no chicken, no food, anything, only pepper. We will put our bottle on fire. And many days they will have to sell ice water in front of the house in a cooler. Stephen and Paul, after coming from school, they'll do that. I was overtaxing them. Yeah, they were loving children. And friends, very good friends who will love you with their mouth. And sometimes Paul is one of my children that cannot take rubbish. He will answer some people in a way that it seems the mother tell them, Ruth is my witness. I don't talk about it. For the first time in my life that I will talk of some things that I see. I don't tell them. I mean, maybe the second time. There was a time we had to talk. We have to say to talk. But it's not like calling the children and say, look at A, look at B. And I still carry them. We still go to church and we come back. We be the first in church and last in church. Not because I want to show off, but because I want to thank God for what He has done. I left Nigeria leaving 3 children. Wow. 3 children. Adolescents. And here they are. They are lovely children. Still in the Lord. So I decided to take this action because I thought, well, close your doors to those who are not welcoming. And so when I see some people coming, I just tell them, please I don't want to see anybody. Not like tell them I'm not in. Just, I don't want to see anybody. So nobody opens any door. Nobody answers any knocking. Closed door to people who are useless in your life. And some people I didn't know. I opened my door to some useless people. I'm sorry, not like useless in useless, but useless to your life, useless to your upbringing, useless to making your life grow. So they trample on you. Remember, the greatest relationship you can have in life is relationship with Christ. If you don't have a relationship with Christ, you are done for. All those relationships will draw you down and they will mash on your life. Enough of that one. Thank you.
I'm so sorry for that break in transmission, but we're back now. Hello, Mama.
Hi.
I don't know what happened though. I was just muted and I thought maybe if I end it and come back, it will add me on. But then it just kept rolling and rolling. Anyways, welcome back, Ma. And thank you for sharing all that you shared. I was just saying that when you started talking, I was like, is this a good idea to make Mom talk about all these things and relive kind of all these experiences? But like you mentioned while you were talking, that some things that we go through is not just a waste. It's not just out of maybe God being wicked or we haven't done something wrong. In addition to many other things, it's also for us to be able to comfort other people who might go through similar things. And I know that you've been a lot of that to people. And even I believe that this video would also be that to a lot of people. And I was saying that with things you're sharing, it's not even exclusive to people who are widows. Even I am writing a lot of things down because they're useful for our day-to-day relationships and interactions as well. You know, the part you ended with about closing the door to useless people. That doesn't mean those people are useless in their personality or personal. It is about the fact that they are not useful to you, so why keep them? Another thing I noted was that God is the key anchor. You know, the Bible says there's a friend that sticks closer than a brother, and God is that person, because I believe that a lot of people, when they look back now, they'll be like, oh, I wish I was there, you know, much more than I was. But based on the fact that humans will humate, like I sometimes like to say, humans will be humans. Humans are limited in their capacity, in their wisdom, in their strength, in their grace, in everything. They are limited until we allow God to fully take over us. That's when we begin to operate, you know, in that God level. So a lot of people might even be regretting their actions back then because they're only humans, but it's only God that we can always hold on to. And through different seasons and times, God will still bring us men, you know, that would still help us even in their weakness. You know, God will still bring us men that will still hold us up, support us, guide us through certain difficult situations. And that's one thing. Another thing I'm taking away. One last thing before I ask you another question that I'm taking away, just a recap for what you said, is that in helping people, you get fulfillment. So you're not looking at what you will get. So you're not looking like, oh, I'm the widow here, I know that I need people, and so I can't even help anybody. Everybody should come and be helping me. Even in your own lack, you were still blessing a lot of people. And blessing people is not even all about money, even though you bless people financially as well. It's in the emotional support, you know, the spiritual guidance, even the academic support. I know how your students are like raving about you on Facebook. You know, you didn't say, oh, I'm here now, nobody's helping me, so me too, I just close my door to helping other people. But in helping people, you also, you know, brought people into your circle, and it wasn't about a selfish aim. You didn't have a selfish aim to say, I want to help people so that they can be there for me. It's just your own way of giving back, to just be that social valuable person that you are, to say, how can I add to people even though I'm going through my own? So that's really, really profound, and I really appreciate you sharing all of that. I'm sorry if I made you go back to things I didn't really want to remember, but I believe that it's been blessing a lot of people. If you've been seeing the comment section as well, I believe people will find it very helpful. I'll post it on YouTube as well, so that more people can see it and be blessed by it, because, you know, you shared a lot of things and different people pick different things from what you shared. But one thing I'd like to ask you as we go ahead, we've spent longer than we planned, but yeah, I hope we're able to wrap up soon, is were there, we've seen the negative, interactions and relationships, how humans were just humans, you talked about thorns, the trees you tried to lean on had thorns. That was a very loaded statement too. So I want you to take us through just one example of that, if you're comfortable talking about that, one of those trees that had thorns. And what was that experience really like? Like just take us through something, one experience like that. And also, as you move on from that, I want you to take us through how you were still able to, because I was still seeing one or two people that you were really close with. And I think I'm getting it now when you talked about helping people, that it wasn't, maybe from you trying to reach out to them, they just saw that, oh, this woman is a beautiful person, and then they just kind of stuck to you, and it looked like, oh, those people were like your friends or your people in different seasons. It's in you trying to help people, but I want you to speak to it as well. I know God was there for you, but was there any, because you said we need people, you said it and I wrote it down, we need people. So how were you able to get your own people, on this journey? I know that some, would be Judases, some would be Peters, they would what did Peter do now? He denied Jesus, but he still came back. There'll be people like that. Can you share a few relationships like that with us, and how were you able to discern that this one, or just tell us about the positive kind of relationships as well that was able to help you. Did you have people at all, or it was just like there was nobody completely?
Yeah. One of the Yoruba adage says that people are my clothing that covers me. We have different kinds of clothes. We have a soft one, we have thick ones, we have light ones, we have those ones that looks like useless, but they still cover you. You need your underwears, you need your overwear. So God puts them there to help you. Remember, Naomi helped Ruth, and Ruth helped Naomi in their own different ways.
Yeah.
And so I have people, some of them are Christians and far away. They weren't near. They were living elsewhere. And I have known them when we were younger. I also have people who are unbelievers, stark unbelievers, but they are principled people. If I mention names, you will know. Permit me to mention Mr. Uwoyi. He was older than me, but we were classmates at some point. We teach together in the school, and he has words of wisdom. I know sometimes, one day he told me something and I told him, I can't do that. Move on in your life. Go out there, enjoy yourself. Don't let anybody cause you trouble. I said, I can't do that. So there are times when they give you wrong counsel, but they were always there. Like shoulders you can really cry on. Any problem I have in that school, he will be there. In that same school, in midwifery school, I have Mrs. Sonny. I can always run to her anytime. Anybody may know her. She lives in Manchester. She is my dear sister. I can always run to her anytime. I have Mrs. Tiwo. I don't know whether you still remember her. She will bring us from her poultry crack eggs. All the crack eggs there, she will bring to our house. We cook them, or sometimes put them in the fritters when we have protein sometimes. She will talk to me. Once she sees a change in my face, she will call me and talk. I have some brethren who check in now and again, but they are far away. They are not even there in the place. So those are people. I have people, my parents, I think my dad has gone then, yeah. But my mom, occasionally, she's got her own problems going on. But I remember one day, I tell this one, my senior sister sent some money to me and sent it through somebody who told me she was going to help me change the money. Change the money and said he was going to quickly spend it. I waited and waited and the money never came. So this day, as soon as my children went to school, in fact, before they went, early in the morning, 5 o'clock, I told them, eat your food, close the door, put the key where we put it, go to school. By the time you come back, I'll be back. I traveled to Lagos from Malaysia to look for him. He was dilly-dallying me. I went here and there. At the end of the day, 6 p.m. in the evening, nothing has come to my hand. Meanwhile, I got to Lagos about 8 o'clock in the morning. Till 6 p.m., the money never touched my hand. What will I do? How do I go back? I went back to my mom. My mom normally keep money in every corner of her house. He said, did you get the money? I said, no. She brought out money. She put all the money together. She brought out food and I carried it. 7 p.m., I was at Ojota. How do I get to Lagos? I just saw one car going to Ibadan. He dropped me at Ibadan. 2 o'clock in the middle of the night, we got to Elisha. I have my children, because they know that they have no right to touch the pots anyhow, they didn't eat. They were still in their uniform, slept on the chair. I cried that day before I carried them to their rooms. When I was coming on the way, there's always a madman on the way who people say cause problem. How do I walk from the junction to our house? It's a far distance. Ruth will know what I'm talking about, and anybody who lives in Elisha will know that from the junction of Odoro there to walk to Olomilagbala is a distance. When I got to the bush near San Francisco, where that madman is, I also mimic a mad woman. Then I started singing, yeah. I was singing funny songs because I was so scared, but I didn't know. I prayed and prayed. Then suddenly I started singing church song, but singing it in a way that he himself was afraid. Because I took one of my shoes, I was holding it in my hand.
Good.
Put the second one under my armpit. Because I knew if I want to run, I will run. But I wasn't running, but I was walking and singing, praise the Lord, hallelujah, praise the Lord. The madman was afraid of another mad woman, he thinks. He was just looking at me like that till I passed. When I got a bit after the Deeper Life Church, I started running. When I got home, I saw my children out there. I cried. The money never got back to me till tomorrow. The money has been spent. Those are people who you think should give you, but they help you to guess and spend it. But my mother was the one who gave me money. I remember one day we needed money to do something. The old students of Unife gathered themselves together. My husband finished at Unife and he was their pastor. They brought the money and brought food, crayfish. I don't know whether Ruth can remember. When I bought the money, I put it on the bed. My children were like, Mommy, tell us that you didn't steal. I said, steal. You know the uncle that came today gave us money. Wow! We have never seen that kind of money before. They were so surprised. It's not a lot of money, but it's a lot when you come to a poor widow's house where they have not eaten yesterday. I have debt I had to pay. I want to remember another woman in the front of the hospital, Mrs. Isaac. I will go there and say, I need rice. He will give me 2 cups of rice. I can't pay. I can't pay for 2 cups of rice, my dear. She will say, okay, you better take crayfish. Take crayfish. You know this fish, this small fish. Oh, take some, 1 cup. Because these children, there's something will come out of their ear. Oh. They are going to have stomatitis. Oh, they are going to, the woman with, she was somebody that was stopped from work and started selling food in front of the hospital. She was one of the carers and one of the cleaners in the hospital there. She will say to us in credit, it will take me a month before I am able to pay back. And that's the type of life we lived then. And that's the kind of people that were around me. They weren't Christians, but they understood. They can give. I remember I have to travel to Lagos to buy paper. And we come and we cut it. We use it in the school. And then the off course will be used as jotter that the children will sell, will use, and so on like that. That's life.
Wow.
It looks like fun now.
Okay.
If I go, but it was a bit hard. But the children, we were all going on in fun. In fun, really, we had fun time. My children are wonderful children.
Because you're a wonderful mom, frankly speaking. Because I remember the first day you made us eat what's this begiri soup, because we didn't have anything to make soup, and you made it so funny. We were even so curious, like, what's this begiri soup self like, you know? So because you because I can imagine the story you just shared now about going to Lagos and coming back, even you on your own, that stress you had gone through was enough for you to be tired and exhausted, but you still had that strong compassion to say, hey, see my children, and still start crying again. You two, you have gone through a lot of stress. You go and rest first and relax. And these children they are inside, they are sleeping on chair. They are still sleeping, you know, compared to you going through a lot. But it just shows your heart of compassion, even both for your children and your non-biological children. You're such an amazing person. And I believe that all these things were indeed useful to get you to this point, because there are people that you would have not been able to reach out to encourage, to, you know, speak to stand and support if you hadn't gone through certain things. But, you know, they say experience is best. Nobody's praying for these terrible kind of experiences, but they have been useful. God knows, you know, I think you mentioned it, that He's not going to tempt you beyond what you can bear. He's put that grace and capacity in you to go through these things and come out strong. Like, you really came out successful, and you have not even, you know, you've not even scratched the surface of all the things that are going to reap from all the investment you made over both us, your biological children, and non-biological children, in the name of Jesus. So as we wrap this up, I just want you to give us 2 practical tips, 1 to 2 practical tips, you know, that you will give. The things you've talked about, but just in terms of a summary, that you will give to anyone who is probably recently widowed, going through widowed, divorce, any kind of difficult relationship, you know, relationships generally, maybe parents to child, maybe spouse, whatever the kind of relationship is. What's 1 or 2 things you would say to somebody that is currently in that difficult place that you think would be useful for them to navigate that situation?
Thank you very much. At this junction too, I would like to say that if anybody would like to contact at any point in time for personal, would be very much available for that. So, because we can't finish anything talking today, I want to use one of the things that one of my teachers taught me, which is what we call grow. So, in anything that is happening to you, have a set goal. That's the G. Set goals. Goals set for your life. Move away from the problems you have, and face reality. That is the R of the face the reality of what is happening to you. I sometimes see people say, "Hey, since my husband has died, that's why I went to prostitution, or that's why I am stealing, or that's why I am begging." No. Face the reality in front of you and look for options. The O. And be willing to do it. So that's number 1 tip that I want to say to you. The second one is believe yourself. Learn not to blame anybody, and be solution focused at all times. All the challenges that comes into your life, take action. Trust in yourself. Be aware of the things in your surroundings. That time I wasn't well informed. I should have used all those people who were around me. Those little people around me, I didn't use them very well. I have to say. They were there, but the wound I had didn't make me to use them very well. But please, make use of all the people around you and be responsible. Don't keep putting things on other people. Be responsible and take actions for what you want. The third one that I want to talk is retreat. Retreat. It's a major thing that you use personally. I've tried to use it now and again. It's a I personally made it for myself. It's if you spell the word retreat, you will see that the R of it is review the situation you are in at the moment. Review the situation that you are in. The E of it is enlist yourself. Enlist yourself into something worthwhile. By that time, I enlisted myself to go and help people living with HIV/AIDS. I joined a group called SWAN, and we went about all Oyo states or Osun State, teaching people how to live their lives. We went for training. I went for the training, and I went around. And then every once in a week, I go to a primary school or a secondary school to teach them how to protect themselves against HIV/AIDS. I gave myself. So be willing, be enlisted into the army of God. At that time, it was difficult for me to do some things in the church, but I still try to help people out there. So you in the church, you enlist yourself. And when I had opportunity to work in the church, I gave myself. So enlist yourself. Energize yourself by, still now, trust in the Lord to care for you. Trust in the Lord, that is retreat. Reflect on your future. Reflect on your future, because this is not going to be the end. There's a future coming for you. Look at Joshua. Joshua's master went away. Look at that woman. The son died, and he was carrying the coffin. Look at Naomi. The husband has died. The sons were dead. Some things might have been taken from you, but think of the future. Ruth was not thinking of the present. She said, "Mother, can I go and be looking for food so we won't die in hunger?" She made a step forward to do something. And while she was doing that, God was preparing for her a husband. Even when the man who was supposed to marry him said no, there was a ready-made one for him. Reflect on your future. Energize yourself by resting. I didn't rest very well then, I know, but God knew that this woman. So now I don't play with that. I do rest now. I try to as much as I can. So energize yourself by resting. Always have an attitude of praise. RETREA, attitude of praise and worship. I have so many songs that has helped me on the way. By the time I start one song, another one will come, and another one will come, and another one, and my heart will be lifted up. Even when I'm crying, I know God is there. So those songs are wonderful songs. That time we have no YouTube. And the songs are in the hymn book. But now you have in book that when you pick a topic, hundreds of songs will come up with you. Next, finally, teach, train others. Teach, train others. Retreat. Teach and train others. And get closer to God as you teach and train others. Get closer to God as you retreat. Because you can't teach without learning. You can't teach without knowing. You can't teach without searching. And when you search, you know more about God. And on that note, I leave you with those 3 points. You want to hear more? Yes.
This one
I
is
shall.
more than 3 points. So this one is 3 points with plenty babies and grandchildren.
Yeah, they have babies, but there are 3. They are just
3 key
each
points.
of them is one. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for sharing these things.
And thank you
Honestly,
for
one thing I am
taking time to
personally taking away is that part of where you talked about in helping people, because you talked about it again, even in the retreats, the third point that you just shared, retreats. 2 things out of there has to do with giving to people, giving back, enlisting yourself to help others, teaching others, just giving back. So not just, no matter what you're going through, no matter what the relationships look like, don't use that as an excuse to just hold back and say, I'm not going to do anything to anybody or for anybody. I'm just going to be here sobbing and crying and depressed. In giving back, in reaching out to people, your heart is lifted. You get relationships from there, you get friendships from there, you build bonds from there that would end up helping you as well. But that's not even the aim of you going in. And it's also like I said, it's a takeaway for me, fairly introverts like me, that I'm just wondering, how am I going to build friendships? How am I going to make friends and all of that? But I'm seeing that it is in giving value, not just looking after, oh, I want a friend, I need this, I need a mentor, I need a sponsor, I need this. You give first, you enlist yourself, teach people, give, be there to support people, commit yourself to a course. And from there, people like you would, you just bond and build relationships from there. So yes, thank you so much. This was very, very, very powerful. And one thing I also want to say, and this is very vital for us, especially as moms, young moms like me, we don't always maximize relationships. You talked about it, like using the people around you. People are just saying, how can we help you? Just saying, don't worry. We're not maximizing those little relationships. We now feel like, oh, there's nobody to help me. So we need to learn to maximize. You use the word use, but I'd rather say maximize. So people not say, oh, you are using people. But like maximizing, squeezing the juice. People are there ready and willing to help. They might not know how.
Absolutely.
So maximize those relationships. Say, yes, help me do this. And also, there's something I heard recently, that even as people who are also trying to help, we should also be more specific. Can I bring soup for you tomorrow? Can I, clean your house for you? Can I take your children off you for a few hours? Can I be specific in don't just say, how can I help you? Like, person, don't worry. Just good, don't worry, I'm okay. Be specific in your offer. And the person will be like, that will really be helpful for me. Can I do this? Can I do that? Be specific. And that way, we're also helping other people, reaching out to people, and making this world just a better place. Because no man is an island. We can't survive this world by ourselves. There's a reason why God put us, in this world with other people, and we should be there to just have that handshake to help and grow together through the ups and downs of lives, whatever that may look like for different people. We should just be there to be supports, pillars, backbones to each other. So thank you so much, Ma. I don't know if you have any questions. First of all, in the comment section, you can leave your questions. People are just, somebody says, thank you, Mama, you poured your heart. Yes, so she poured it too. Mama went through a lot. Thank God for the gift of men. Yeah, somebody was welcoming you back when you came back earlier. There were comments before in the other video. I hope I saved that video. If I didn't save it, it will pay me. But I believe it's saved. So I'm going to put both together and put it on YouTube so that more people can actually see this. Usually I don't post the webinars in the community on YouTube like that. I just feel like, let it be our own stuff here. But I believe that this will be helpful to a lot more people, and more people should see it, definitely. So thank you so much for your time. Who thinks we should bring Mama back? You'll still come back anyway. Still come back. We'll let you know, but you'll still come back because there's a lot. I want to begin to have more conversations with people now, with especially older people. Not really, you are not old yet, you're still young, because we still need you here for a very long time. But like people in their 60s, 70s, there's a lot of experience locked in there. Even when you were sharing today, you didn't just share, oh, everything went, you mentioned places where, oh, I should have done better here, I should have done better here. And those are the things that we should learn from, so that we will not make those same mistakes again. So we're not just repeating the same cycles of mistakes, but we're learning from those who have gone ahead of us. Conversations around menopause is like shrouded in secrecy. Nobody's talking about it, and then people are struggling when they get to those stages. Even aging. I was talking to, someone that came to greet my parents-in-law, recently. She's also in her maybe late 60s, 70s, and she was talking about how, it's not easy aging and all of that. And I'm saying, you people are not telling us about these things, right? But I remember you were saying one day that, remember when your mom is trying to stand up and you're like, what's wrong with this woman? Why is she doing this? Now you get it, But these are things that I'm going to begin to push conversations around intentional so that we can hear these things, because education is power, knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
If we know, we are better equipped when we get to those stages, and we'll not be able to, we'll not make those same mistakes, which you also don't want us to make anyway, so we'll learn from your mistakes and we'll also do better as well. And you feel fulfilled. Yeah, you've given back to us, as you've encouraged us to do today. So thank you so much. Yes, so they said we need Mama back. Yes, so she's coming back. Don't worry, she's coming back. And even on more public spaces. This one I just brought her to Mom for Wellness. She's coming to my open Facebook, because there's a lot of things we need to juice out from her. We need to maximize this relationship. As we have learned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Mama. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much. Everyone who also catch the replay, thank you so much. I'm going to put an email address somewhere around this video so that you can send her an email if you need personal. Yeah, she says, yeah, Coach Ify says we need Zoom meetings. Yeah, so don't worry, she's available. She's a coach too, she's a nurse. So reach out to her. I'll put an email address if you want to reach out to her to speak to people that you think need to hear what she's saying, or to speak around a topic that I think she has, based on our experience and all that, she can speak to, or you just need personal, guidance, encouragement, whatever it is, you can always reach out to her. So I'll leave her email. Of course, I'll put our Facebook handle as well, or what's it called, username, so you can send her a DM, you can send her a message. She's very responsive. You can see that already. So thank you so much, Ma. Please don't bombard my mom. She needs to rest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mama.
Thank you, everybody.
I just
you.
came back from night, but I said I must
do this. Sorry, I have to keep you.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I'm happy to be here, but I'll call you maybe later in the day.
Okay.
But thank you so much, Ma. I truly.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Margaret. Love you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.